Okay, we're going to make a house. So create a new design and we'll just get started. Put a rectangle on the work plane and let's go ahead and make it bigger. Actually, let me talk you through this. I'm going to hold shift so it constrains to the same aspect ratio, and I think I'm going to stop it like 60 by 60 and probably not that tall. Let's go 40 or something. Okay, so there's the body of the house. And I guess while we're at it, we can hollow it out. So I'm going to hit, actually, before I duplicate it, I'm going to make it into a hole, a negative space. And then I'm going to hit Control D, so that duplicates it, you see. I'm going to hit Control Z to put it back. But I'm going to hold Shift while I pull down. Let's go like 38. And now let's examine it. You'll see that there's a rectangular shape inside. And let's see. Now I'm going to click on the outer. I want to get a hold of the inside piece because I don't want it actually touching the floor. And I don't know if you can see, but it's actually touching the floor. Actually, that's not so bad. I'll just leave it like that. So I'm going to click on the outer and turn it solid. And, the missing space is still inside, but we're going to select and join them or group them. That way it, it hollows it out basically. So that takes care of that. Now I'm going to put the roof on, and let's do it this way. I'm going to put a work plane temporarily on top. The reason we want to do that is because I want to put this on top, and if I drag it onto the work plane, it just automatically drops to this work plane. So let me delete that. We're going to go this way. Might as well make it easy. And now when we drag it out here, it actually, puts itself right there. So I'm going to hold shift and drag out the corner until, let's see, how big do I want this to be? Because I'm just looking at, this looks like there's 7 squares beyond it. Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look. So there's I forget what this shape down here is 60. And if this is 75, maybe 74 would be better, just so it's an even number. So anyways, let's look at the side here. That means that there's 7 squares on this side and 7 squares on that side. So that's good. Now what about how far it's sticking out in the front? We want it to have some overhang, so I'm going to bring it out like, what's that, about 5 or so squares. And this is probably too much, so I'm going to bring it in. That's more like what we have on the other side. All right, so now, just for fun, I'm going to hit F, and that will zoom out. I'm going to duplicate that and shrink it down. I'm going to hold Shift, shrink it down, I don't know, a couple of clicks. Oh, and I guess while it's still selected, I should probably turn it into a hole. And just to examine things, I'm going to click on the outside and make it a hole too. That way we can see how thick and what the position is for everything. Okay, so now if I click on the outer and I turn it back solid and then I select both of them and group them, that'll be great, except for under here, you'll see it looks like it's floating. So I'm going to hit Control Z till we get that back. Control Z. Okay. Now, this would be a good opportunity to click on the outside and just say hide, so we can get our hands on this and pull it up just like even just 1 1 pixel would be great. Okay, now we'll click unhide so the main roof comes back. And now just because there's a little bit of space between it and the bottom, it won't do that problem. It won't create that problem that we had before. So I'll bring it back as a solid, and I'll combine the two. And now it is, yeah, better. It's a hollow. I just made it hollow for the fun of it, I suppose. Now let's go ahead and put the regular work plane back here, and I'll click on the red, hit F, and let's put a door in it. So I'm going to bring out a shape, a hollow shape like this, and I'll make it, I guess 20 looks good, and I'll just put it into the side there, maybe in the center. Yeah. And then if you combine those now, it'll make it look like a door because it's hollowed out. And if we do it again, only this time, let's size it 10 by 10 or something. And we'll pick it up and move it to the right. I'm going to use arrow keys. And let's also hit arrow keys, push it in a little further. Now I'll hit Control D, and then I'll move the copy. I'm going to hold Shift while I arrow key it over. Now let's turn it so we can see if it's even. Looks like it needs to move maybe like so. Maybe like that, because looks like my door wasn't exactly centered, which is not a big problem. In fact, I'm going to make this a bit wider, like it's a living room or something. And now I'll just select all of them and group. And now it looks like we've got some windows. Might as well do it on the other side too. Let's go. I'm going to hold Shift while I pull down until it's about 10. And then I'm going to lift it up. And I think I'll arrow key it over to make sure it's at the same height as the other windows, just so it doesn't look weird. Looks like it needs to come up. I'm going to hold Control up arrow, and that's probably good. Well, let me see. Yeah, that's definitely the same height. So I'm going to hold Shift while I arrow key it over, and maybe we'll put it right about in the middle. So I'll select all that, group, and now we've got, oh, looks like I didn't embed it far enough. So I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to get out here so I can see how much it needs to go in. I'll left arrow, and now we'll just, whoops, I'll just select those and group. Now we've got a window. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to undo. That's Control Z. You should be really quick with Control Z. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it and arrow key that over there so I can make another window later on one of the other sides of the house. So I'll hit group, swing this around, arrow key to the right, embed that into the wall. I think I'll hit Control D and do it again where maybe we've got like 2 windows together just to show some different style. Group that. Looking pretty good. I guess I should probably undo that and then duplicate one of them. Yeah. Before I fool around and lose it. Control D. Put in a couple windows. A couple more windows. Maybe I'll make this one a little bit wider since it is over by the living room area. Now I'm going to go ahead and swipe across all of them and group them together. And that looks pretty good. Not bad. Not bad. Now how about a chimney? I'm going to drag this over here. make it a bit skinnier. Hit Control D, and then let's see, pull down just a little bit and make it hollow, and then probably lift it up or not. Let me undo that. What I probably need to do is just make it taller. Yeah, so that it protrudes out like that. Now I'll group them, and we'll see if it made a hole all the way through. That looks good. Now what I need to do is lift it up with this cone and just arrow key it probably over. Let me see, back up a bit. Left arrow key. I'll hold shift so it hurries up. That's not too bad. If you hit control up arrow key and down, it will. Maybe I'll just go ahead and leave it like that, but then I'll pick this up so it's taller. Well, I don't want to go too much taller. Probably taller than the house by just a touch. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now the living room's got its own chimney. I guess in real life you'd want to probably bring it all the way down and then build around that, but right now I'm just doing a nice simple house. This might be a little too tall actually, but let's see what happens if I group all this and then bring it down. I wonder how far down I can go. Yeah, I don't want to see those red walls coming through. So that's a little better. Although I could probably hide it and then no, actually my idea just now was to do this, but that's going to shrink we don't want the walls and windows to do that. So I'll unhide it and we'll call it good. And there's my house.